Ah, yeah. Yeah, yes, Ninja Tone, mega topic. And,
All right.
all right, here we go. So, it's Morbin time.
I completely forgot that this movie launched on April 1st, and I feel like somebody behind the scenes knew what they were doing.
Yeah.
So, y- before we get into the movie itself, I think it's pretty clear why this became such a meme.
Yeah, and Chingus wants to know why we made the same mistake he did. Well, we
I mean,
wanted we kind of wanted to watch this movie at some point just to see what it was all about.
get it out of the way. And we spent so much of last year, reporting on its box office and trials and travails. And at some point, you have to see the darn thing.
Yeah, yeah. Because we're masochists. Yeah, that too. uh,
Well, and okay, so Daniel, I think it's fair to say that we came into this expecting a bad movie. Like just everything we had heard, we had bottom of the basement expectations.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. I was not expecting anything from this movie, and I got nothing from this movie.
Yeah, we expected nothing, and somehow we were still disappointed.
Yeah.
like, okay, so to kind of get into, let's kind of divide this into like we'll talk a little bit about the plot, then we'll get into the critiques of it because the plot is
Yeah,
actually dead simple.
yeah.
Michael Morbius, played by the Jared Leto. Not there's not a descriptor, just a heavy sigh. Jared
Yes.
Leto
Yeah.
uh, is Dr. Michael Morbius, a brilliant scientist who has a horrible blood illness. He's staying at a hospital devoted to caring for children with this illness, and he meets a friend who coincidentally gets hooked up to a bad machine and almost dies in their first day of meeting.
Yeah.
And he then proceeds to do the Ray Skywalker thing, and he bypassed the compressor to to save his friend. Basically, like he popped open a pen and used the spring to like short a circuit to get
Yeah.
it working again. And so Morbius is sent off to a school for the gifted in New York. Which the way they phrased "school for the gifted," I wonder if they were thinking that comic book audience fans would wonder, do they mean he's going to be an X-Man?
Yeah.
But no, instead he just becomes a famous expert in blood diseases.
Mhm.
Now, uh, the friend, he gets a letter from Morbius as he leaves, and I think that as the kids they had some good chemistry.
Yeah.
Like you got the impression that they were good friends, uh,
Mhm.
and so yeah, you have this lonely little British boy who is the friend, and he loses the letter, and some bullies are um, uh, are picking on him, reading the
Mhm.
letter out loud, and he proceeds to clock one of them in the face with his
Yeah, with his crutch. Yeah.
crutch, and it gets violent and awful, and you kind of get the impression, okay, this kid is slightly unhinged.
Hmm. Yeah.
Uh, Cut to many years later. Oh, I'm leaving out the Edgelord opening scene where Michael cuts his hand open.
Yeah.
Okay, look, you idiots. Do you know how much that's going to sting while it
Yeah.
heals? And what if you accidentally severed something important?
Well, he's a doctor though, so he knows where to cut on the hand, I guess.
Man, after this, I don't believe that he knows how to. I don't know. He did turn himself into a bat monster, so I guess he knows something at least.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spoilers. So, um, and yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
uh,
the bats, yeah, where he gets the bats and
yeah.
yeah.
Which you don't need hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bats to study like that. Like that seems excessive. Y-
Yeah.
You're actually having like a really negative effect on the local ecosystem.
Yeah, Yeah, and yeah, it was weird too. What's weird too is you bring it into another, uh, another ecosystem that they're not compatible.
Well, he keeps it in a big fish tank.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh, Speaking of the fish tank, by the way, Michael Morbius, to prove he is an outside edgelord, turns down a Nobel Prize for his work.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Which it's weird. Like it's like they can't decide whether he's super egomaniacal Doctor Stephen Strange or whether he's a sad recluse.
yeah. It's yeah, yeah, Ninja Toad. That's not how science works. And he says he prefers his first appearance on the comics featuring multi-armed Spider-Man and a talking good guy lizard.
Yeah, we'll get to the problems with Morbius just from the go in a minute.
Yeah.
But we also meet his lovely assistant, whose name I forget, both as an actress and as a character, because she
Yeah.
basically exists to occasionally show you that she has a nice ass
Mhm.
uh, and to be somebody for him to talk to and disagree with his wild choices.
And be a potential love interest.
Yes, that too.
Yeah.
Um, Now the strange they did so. I have to question some of the logic here, which is basically that okay. So the way vampire bats feed
Mhm.
is in their saliva they have a chemical that acts as an anticoagulant.
Okay.
That basically stops the blood from clotting. Like so that they'll climb up onto a cow or something else big, nip it, and then well, hopefully while it's asleep and it doesn't wake up, and then lap up the blood.
Mm.
I forget the exact details because it's been 2 days and my memory is already fading away a bit. But I forget if they were like saying that they had a coagulant factor or they had an anticoagulant factor that would help with the blood disease.
I don't remember either.
Um, if it's if they said they have a special coagulant factor, then that's the exact opposite of what they have. If they have an anticoagulant factor, okay, but how would that help in blood circulating through the body?
Yeah.
And also, they clearly are hooking themselves up to an iron kidney or whatever you call a dialysis machine periodically.
Yeah.
So there's not really any way that your blood coagulating more or not would help.
Right. Yeah.
So it's, but the 70s comic that introduced Morbius was just as shaky. So we'll just move on from there.
Yeah.
Morbius proceeds to hire himself a group of mercenaries for some reason.
Yeah.
And they go out into international waters in a boat, and he turns himself into a Batman. Not a good Batman, but just a Batman.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he proceeds to kill the entire group of mercenaries. And I think that's why they were a bunch of mercenaries instead of also who are sexist mercenaries who called the doctor a nurse. Or
Yeah.
yeah, because of course she's a woman, can't have a woman doctor,
Right.
says
Yeah.
the Neanderthal. It's like, okay, by say that they're armed mercenaries, it makes it okay for him to kill and feed on them, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll make them sexists to boot for just that little bit of extra oomph.
Yeah. Yeah. Jeez. And of course, throwing it all in there too is the friend, who uh, the kid, and of course, he grows up, and it's Matt Smith.
Yes, he grew up to be doctor, the
Yes,
doctor,
the doctor.
which is
Yeah,
ironic since he's not he's the only character in the main trio of characters who is not in fact a doctor.
yeah,
He's just a layabout. Like he's shown to be like he cheats at cards to make his money to fund the research that's trying to save them.
right.
Uh, so yeah, Morbius is now a vampire. The fake blood, which we forgot, that's what he won the. It's like basically artificial blood that can take the place of regular blood. He's like, oh, if I don't have blood every so often, I morb out. He does
Yeah,
not actually use the phrase morbing out, but it works as well as anything.
yeah, yeah,
And oh no, the artificial blood is working less well every time.
yeah, yeah. It works for like 8 hours, and then 6 hours, and then 4 hours, and yeah.
Yeah. Which call me crazy, but It seems to me that an artificial blood substance would probably not have a lot of nutrients. In fact, uh, it would probably be like made of plastics and stuff like that. Because all it would be like it's designed to emulate the properties of blood and its ability to carry air
Yeah.
around the body or oxygen around the body. But that's neither.
Yeah.
I don't think that eating. I don't think that drinking it straight would be quite the same thing. But it works as well as a plot point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and so you have the inevitable thing where Morbius like I'm a monster. I need to find a way to cure myself. And Matt Smith is like, oh, you think you get to live while I die? And he juices himself and becomes another vampire.
Yeah. And rather than doing the artificial blood, he's doing the real human blood.
Yeah, because we established that as he was a kid, he is a sociopath. So, or at least he's had a violent streak. So,
Yeah.
um, and then there's like a lot of middle. Like there is a lot of middle. They introduced Matt Smith vampire very early on,
Mm-hmm.
and there's just a lot of nothing.
Yeah, a lot of a lot of just like um just them kind of milling around, and then him getting him getting another lab, and then uh you know stuff with
And that was on purpose.
oh, okay.
Just closing a
um
few of my way too many windows before I.
okay. um yeah, and then the whole uh Matt Smith's vampire sounds like a mid movie twist. Yeah, it kind of was. And it wasn't even really like,
It was almost like end of first act.
yeah. And you got to put the poster up, not even the. Sorry. Um,
Oh, whoops. Um,
yeah, yeah, Infinity.
yeah, I picked the wrong thing.
That's
We're
okay.
professional operation here, folks.
Yeah.
All right,
um,
there we go.
but yeah, so and yeah, and yeah, there, like you said, there's just a lot of middle, and then not a whole lot happens, and then and then you had this big climactic showdown between Morbius and Matt Smith.
Which I remember thinking at the time, great, another superhero movie where the villain is a slightly bigger, stronger version
Hmm.
of the main character for him to throw himself against. I the only credit I will give this movie in any way, besides the one actor who actually seemed to give a shit, and who was not Jared Leto,
Yeah.
um, is that like he killed Matt Smith by doing like a bat kamehameha, which like that's not how bats work, but it was at least visually creative.
Yeah.
Like he just had this swarm of bats all around him. And oh yeah, also Matt Smith killed killed or he put the girlfriend in a position to die, and Morbius ran out of time and was forced to feed on her. But at very end of the movie, her eyes open.
Yeah. And I guess she's a vampire now, or whatever. I
Yeah,
don't know.
which okay, why didn't anyone else that was bitten in this movie turn into a vampire? Does Morbius know how to vampirize someone?
I,
Is that an intentional thing he does?
I don't know. It's yeah. As Ninja Toad says, logic and Morbius question mark. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So if we didn't sound super enthusiastic about it, it's because we weren't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's really nothing to be enthusiastic about. Like the thing where the meme online last year was like, oh man, the best scene is where Morbius totally morbs out and morbs all over some guys. That technically happened a couple of times,
Yeah.
but it was just kind of dull and rote.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just and I was just kind of like part of me is saying, well, the entire time Jared Leto is acting like he doesn't care.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
weird. Because like it's like he took it badly. Like when people didn't like him overacting as the Joker, it's like fine, next movie you get nothing.
Yeah. And if he doesn't care, why should I care?
Yeah, it's weird because it feels like like every scene he's in, he just has this glassy, dead eyes.
Yeah.
Like I don't. It's been a while since I've seen Suicide Squad, but I remember Joker in that, like being able to emote with his eyes at least.
Yeah.
So it's just strange. It's just very strange how dead fish he is in this movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
The only person who was having any fun in this entire thing was Matt Smith.
Yeah. It sort of reminded me of if you've ever seen, I don't know, you probably haven't seen Highlander 2. Um,
No.
no, okay. Well, you're not missing anything. But Michael Ironside plays the bad guy in that movie, and he just hams it up because he knew full well just how ridiculous the movie was. And I wonder if Matt Smith didn't do the same thing, where he's just like, okay, this movie is ridiculous. I'm just gonna ham it up as much as I can.
Yeah, it's very much like a Raul Julia type thing
Yeah,
with Street Fighter. And it's now the difference is that I would say that Raul Julia is so good in Street Fighter 2, the movie,
yeah,
that it is, even if you don't like the rest of the movie, it's worth watching it just for his performance.
yeah.
While Matt Smith was the best part of this movie, it is not worth going out for.
No, no, yeah. And neither were the mid credits and post credits scenes.
Oh God, Daniel, you talk about it. I haven't actually. I actually like.
Okay,
I was messaging Daniel while I was watching. Like, who the hell is that? Because I still have not seen the first Marvel or MCU
it's
Spider-Man
right.
movie.
Yeah, yeah. So the mid credits scene, Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes, aka Vulture, just teleports in the middle of this prison cell, and it's obviously related to what was going on in Spider-Man No Way Home with when the multiverse thing opened up. Because there was a post credit the post credit scene on Spider-Man No Way Home was Eddie Brock. Um, the same thing happens to him where he gets pulled away to another universe. And the same thing happens with Adrian Toomes, and then he gets released from prison. Uh, and then the post credit scene was is Morbius driving out in the middle of the desert, and then he stops somewhere, and then Vulture shows up, and he said, "Oh, I think I'm here because of Spider-Man, and I think we should team up." And
Morbius is like, "What's a Spider-Man?" That was never mentioned the entire movie.
yeah. Although they do, there's a scene where Matt Smith reads the Daily Bugle.
Yeah, that's the only thing in the entire. Yeah, all the papers were Daily Bugles.
Yeah. Um, so it kind of leads me to question, like, okay, well, which Spider-Man universe are we in? Are we in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man universe? Are we in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man? I think it's the Andrew Garfield. Oh, you're muted.
I'm going to assume it's the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie just because it's so shit. So,
Yeah,
so it would fit the oeuvre of that particular cinematic universe.
yeah. um, but yeah, it's just yeah.
Yeah. So I see why this became a. Oh yeah. Also, the effects were bad.
Oh yeah, they were. Yeah,
Yeah. So they kept doing this thing where when Morbius was jumping around, it's like they said. I don't know if this was to cover up their cheap CGI work or if this was them trying to make him visually interesting to watch jump around. But he was melting all the time.
yeah,
Like there was like weird liquid effects whenever he moved.
yeah. It looked really bad.
I kept
Yeah,
thinking, like, what does that have to do with being a Batman?
yeah,
Like everything Spider-Man does is at least tangentially related to things people think about spiders. I don't remember the rumor that vampires melt or that vampire bats melt.
yeah. I haven't heard that one either.
I missed it.
Yeah.
But the worst thing though is that in a scene where Matt Smith kills their surrogate dad,
Mm.
And I went back and watched this and took a picture of it. In fact, let me just unshare my screen for a second here, because
Yeah.
Daniel, did I sent you that picture, right?
I think you did. Yeah.
Let me just scroll up our chat here a little bit.
Uh,
Yep, I did.
okay.
This is astounding how
Yeah.
bad this stupid this is. Give me a sec here. Okay, so this is supposed to be super strong vampire Matt Smith scratches open, uh, scratches open.
Oh, oops.
Uh, do I have the wrong one picked again?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, yeah. There's a whole scene in there where they have this like confrontation, and
Here we
he's
go.
okay. Yeah, he scratches his
He
torso.
he supposedly slashes his guts open. And I had to go back and watch it a few times, like, because the next scene, like, he's holding it's like he's holding his entrails in. But
Yeah,
is his shirt even ripped? It looks like they just put fake blood all over his shirt. And I
yeah, his
had to
shirt.
go
Yeah,
back and watch this scene 3 times to notice that there are like little tiny rents in, in the shirt here.
yeah,
Like, but it's like the shirt is not damaged past this line, which doesn't even hit the buttons.
yeah.
Stop
That's
being a drama queen, you'll be fine.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if that's like bad, if that's just bad makeup effects, or if they did that to get a PG-13 rating.
It's possible, but man,
Yeah,
and Daniel, there was one thought that we both had, and I'll let you share it, just because I've been blabbing enough
yeah,
about the like how we would redo the movie. We both came to the same conclusion.
yeah. We both kind of came to the same conclusion that like we would have like what was it? It was yeah, like the yeah, they like have all three of them be kids together, and like she was the she would be the daughter of the guy who ran the school, and basically it would just be like, although we I think we both came to the conclusion it would be like the Wolf Man with the Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, and we both just said, like we were thinking about how to fix it. It's like, yeah, why bother?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's
We're just like,
Morbius.
whatever.
Why fix Morbius? The thing about Morbius is that Morbius was designed in the 70s to get around the Comics Code Authority's bans on vampires.
Hmm.
Because, oh, he isn't actually a vampire. He's a mutant Batman. He's a living vampire. The loophole.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Not yeah. So this movie, it was everything we thought it would be, and yeah, like we said, we were still disappointed.
It also explains why I haven't really seen. So a bad Marvel movie comes out. Like, you'll have Mahler doing like a literal 4-hour breakdown on why Black Widow is crap.
Yeah.
By the way, that was actually a reasonably used 4 hours listening to that while doing other things, because Mahler is not good at getting to the point. Actually, no. Here's the thing: you look at a Mahler video being 4 hours long, and you think to yourself, "Good God, what is this guy on about?"
Yeah.
And then you actually watch, it's like, okay, this guy is basically taking what somebody else would stretch out into a months of updates and doing it in one long video.
Yeah.
But like, nobody is bothering to critique this movie because there's nothing to critique. Like, critique implies that there are lessons to be learned, and the lesson to be learned is don't make movies unless the character has a established history of selling comic books without having Spider-Man around, like Venom. Don't try to make them into a separate character.
Yeah. And also too, Sony, stop trying to make the Sinister Six a thing. It's never going to happen.
By the nature of movies, it isn't going to work because, see, what makes the Sinister Six cool is that Spider-Man had a hard time fighting all of them individually. So you'd have to give each member of the Sinister Six their own Spider-Man movie.
Hmm.
And by the time you do that, what's his name is 50.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, Tom Holland.
Yeah, by the time you do that, Tom Holland is 50 and Willem Dafoe is dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just not a good idea. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
But let's talk about movies that actually do have promise.
Yes.